In this video, I will be reviewing the Polygon Helios A8X, a UCI approved aero bike that comes with Shimano Ultegra Di2 and some Entity 50mm carbon rims valued at 5,999 AUD, or that's 4,000 USD. And this frame set right here is produced by an Indonesian company that's been manufacturing bikes since 1989 with quite the pedigree in mountain biking. But by all accounts, they make a nice road bike too, ridden by this UCI Continental team. Timestamps for you below if you'd like to jump about, and disclaimer before we get into it, the riding experiences that I'll be sharing with you are my very own and they could be different to yours. So before we deep dive here, I need to clear the air because I know what some of you will be thinking given the previous bike project on this channel. Why haven't you taken this frame set into your carbon expert to be interrogated? Well, as part of the partial build which needs to be done when this bike is purchased through Bikes Online, the company that operates here in Australia and the US who have provided this bike for review, expert mechanic Aaron Dobbs gave me his visual impressions as he did with the Sava aero bike many moons ago, where I ended up taking the fork in to see Gary from Carbon Steed. And as a result, we put a line through that bike in terms of carbon quality. In regards to this visual inspection, not only were there no alarm bells from Aaron, but he was also very pleased with what he could see. Meaning there was no compelling reason for me to spend quite a significant amount of money getting this bike disassembled and then reassembled for carbon assessment. Additionally, on clearing the air. Similar to the Seeker project you have seen on this channel recently, and also the Elves project, where the frame and wheels were given to me, Bikes Online have given me this full bike to complete a long-term review, but as always, I have full freedoms to do and to say as I please. So before we discuss riding experiences, I'd like to discuss geometry. Now, if we compare this bike to other aero bikes that I have personally ridden in the past, the biggest call out I'd like to make, in fact, congratulate Polygon on, is at 179 centimeters. I am normally a medium, and this is a medium. Unlike a lot of these emerging Chinese brands that I've been testing and reviewing on the channel recently, that seem to require you to either upsize or downsize, and even then there's normally some type of odd geometry or discrepancy. Not with this bike right here. Some small callouts on the Polygon is a higher stack height of about 5 to 10 millimeters, meaning you could ride in a slightly more upright, relaxed position with this bike compared to other aero bikes. Additionally, the Polygon has a slightly longer chainstay and wheelbase compared to these other aero bikes, which tends to give you a more planted, stable riding sensation. So great for descending and not so great for twitchy, tight corners, and that's about it. There's nothing overwhelming, nothing surprising, which, pardon the pun, didn't really surprise me when I first laid eyes on this bike, as it's not the type of aero frame that gets right up in your face. It's not trying to do anything special. The tube shapes aren't polarizing, and the general geometry is relatively normal. In fact, I'd call it a conservative aero bike, and with these Super Team 50mm shark fin design carbon rims, which I've left on the bike because the Entity wheels that come with the Helios A8X are, we'll talk more about that one shortly, plus the Vittoria Corsa Pro graphene 26mm tan wall tires. I'd actually go as far to say that this bike looks elegant, and that's kind of how it rides too. It's graceful and stylish in appearance or manner, as per the online dictionary. In bike terms, it's stiff without being overly stiff. Its handling is not aggressive nor cumbersome, which some aero bikes are, but fluid, doing what you would expect, which has probably been enhanced by these epic Vision handlebars we'll talk about later in this video. It's rather comfortable for an aero bike, and it's fast without blowing your socks off. The only one issue I've had with this Polygon is the seat post slipping after the first ride. But after adding some high grit paste into the seat post and tightening to 13 Newton meters as opposed to the recommended 10, there's been absolutely no problem. So I'm going to call and rate this bike in the Tier 2 aero category. What do I mean by Tier 2? Well, some bike brands offer a higher end carbon layup and then like a Tier 2 model, as per the Merida Reacto, which has a CF5 Tier 1 lighter carbon layup and a CF3 Tier 2 heavier carbon layup. The Giant Propel has the Tier 1 advanced SL grade carbon layup and the advanced grade Tier 2 and so forth. And while Polygon only offer one carbon layup, which appears to be relatively lightweight at 800 grams for the frame set according to the Polygon website, which doesn't specify the frame size, which is perhaps a bit of an oversight on the Polygon website there, I'm going to put this bike in the tier 2 category, because that's certainly how it rides and certainly where the price point is aligned. So back to the point, I'm going to call this bike the great aero all-rounder, and I feel that's why it's been quite a hard review for me to script and articulate to you, because with these aero bikes, there's normally some type of resounding feature that sort of pokes its head up, and it's hard not to talk about, and we get lost in a bit of a rabbit hole. Not with this bike right here. The wheels and handlebars though, they are a different story, which we're about to get to. So as a result of this all-round, ticking all the boxes without overwhelming riding experiences, I'm just going to give you my rating system right now as opposed to waiting to the end of this video, and please know that this rating system is for the aero tier 2 category. Now just know I have cheated a little bit with the rating system, because I haven't rated the bike with the Entity wheels. I've rated it with the better wheels. Why have I done that? Please know, if you're going to invest in this bike right here, that the Entity WR5 disc 50mm wheels are like bricks. Yes, they're only a touch over 1600 grams, which isn't too bad, but they ride like 2 kilogram wheels. What's my evidence? Speed test completed on low wind days on these Asioma power pedals, which are, by the way, a new partner of this channel, and have been my power meter of choice for bike speed tests from day one, given their reputation for accuracy and the fact that they use real-time versus average angular velocity to gauge real-time power through each pedal stroke. Super important when climbing hills that undulate, which causes variation in your cadence and thus power transfer through each pedal stroke. As you can see, I have held a circa 350 watt average up a local 1.5 kilometer climb, and the Polygon with these 50mm depth fast sport rims with the 240 DT Swiss hub, which come in at just under 1500 grams, are almost 10 seconds faster than the Entity wheels. That's massive, and on the short descent, we can see it's almost 5 seconds faster there too. Obviously, the well-regarded DT Swiss hubs could be playing a big factor in that time difference too, versus the generic Entity hubs. Now please keep in mind, this time difference is despite the fact that I changed out the stock 28mm tyres and tubes with some lighter Maxxis high road tyres and some Schwalbe thermoplastic material lightweight tubes, which actually reduced the bike weight by circa 450 grams. Who knows what the speed test time difference would have been on the stock tyre tube setup. On the topic of tyre and tubes, it should also be noted that the stock 28mm Schwalbe tyres don't seem to match the Entity rim width, protruding over the rim, no doubt impacting aerodynamics. And on the topic of weight, please know that this bike without pedals, with the stock setup, came in at just over 8 kilograms, and with the 58mm fast sport wheels and an extra bottle cage, and the Eagle Beak saddle, just under 7.5 kilograms. And with these rims, which I've only just put on the bike recently, I reckon we'd probably get this bike down even lighter, and just due to rain and weather, I haven't been able to perform the speed test on these wheels, but I just reckon that looks pretty good. So to summarize this section, if you're purchasing this bike right here, I would be swapping out those Entity wheels quick, or maybe look to upgrade to the next best version, which I even see is on special at the time of shooting this video, coming with Shimano wheels as an option. But I'm going to forgive the product manager that put the Entity wheels on this bike for one very good reason, and it's not the fact that this bike comes with full Shimano Di2. They haven't put on a cheaper chain or cut corners anywhere. It's full Shimano. It's actually that they have bolted on these exquisite integrated handlebars from Vision called the Vision Metron 5Ds, a handlebar used by the EF Pro cycling team for its stiffness, aerodynamics, and a 10-degree forward bend, which has apparently been designed for a more ergonomic climbing position. But for me, it's enticed me to get further over the bars in a lower position, which is always a good thing. And The reason why I really wanted to call that one out is because typically with these mid-tier aero frames, they look really good online and quite often they come with crappy handlebars, and I think that's almost deceiving a lot of consumers out there that see this aero beast online and go, I'll purchase that without thinking about what impact a good set of handlebars can have. So to Polygon and to the product manager, massive kudos for doing that. So if you've gotten value out of this video today, please don't forget to give it a like. It helps the channel out. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next video.